Let's talk a little bit more about Japan's economy. Vicky Pryce is an international economist. Great to have you on Global Business Europe again, Vicky. Now, is this all about US tariff squeezing an export-reliant economy?
I think it was, but what we're seeing is that there has been some normalization, if you like. So there has been an agreement now, tariffs have been reduced, and there is a little bit more confidence ahead. So what we're likely to see, as you rightly say, is that the fourth quarter of the year will be a little bit better. It was a bit of a surprise that there was quite such a drop in the third quarter, especially since Japan had been doing okay until then. And what, of course, it does is it confuses a little bit policymakers because, yes, as you suggested, there is a meeting on the 19th of December to see whether interest rates will be going up. Interest rates, of course, are very low in Japan right now. They're only at 0.5%, so they are just 0.5%, really. And they may be going up to 0.75%. Well, that's very, very low, and that's way below where inflation is, which is around 3%. So the question is, does the Bank of Japan do something a bit more urgent on this? Is it going to be worried about what will happen to growth in the future if indeed Japan sort of recovers? And so there is a bit of a schizophrenic attitude, if I may say, because at the same time, the government itself is putting a lot more money into the economy through a stimulus measure, cutting subsidy. Sorry, not cutting subsidies, but actually reintroducing subsidies for energy, which of course will bring sort of hopefully inflation down. So how can you, on the one hand, be thinking about increasing interest rates when at the same time you're trying to stimulate the economy?
You talk about that confusion. So what do you think needs to happen? Or do you think Japan's economic outlook is going to maybe remain uncertain in the short to medium term?
Well, something needs to probably be done about inflation because after years and decades of Japan being in a deflation environment, then suddenly we see inflation there. And of course, it means for individuals who are not getting at present wages rising at the same rate as inflation, they will perhaps in the future, but it means that there is an issue about demand in the economy and also investment in the economy, and I think that's the real problem. So if you raise rates even further, even though they're very, very low, then that perhaps, will act as a disincentive. But in reality, they're still very negative in real terms, so you can be increasing interest rates for a while without worrying too much. So there isn't that much of an inconsistency. It looks like it from the outside, but when you look at what's going on in Japan itself, you've got a situation where, yes, perhaps mood is improving a little bit, a bit more help from government, a bit more exports. We've seen exports recover, even car exports going up, semiconductors going up. So there is certainly some underlying strength in the economy coming back. So with the forecast for this year are for growth perhaps of just over 1% for next year, originally, mainly because of the trade concerns, slightly less, 0.9%. It could be better.
Could be better, certainly. Vicky Pryce, a pleasure talking to you again. Thank you very much.